Hello. Today I was kind of struggling to make a video, a short video, about why God had Joshua commit genocide, especially in Joshua chapter 11. Because I was making a video and a question popped up in the comment section about why God would allow such a thing to happen related to genocide in the Bible. So as I was trying to make a video, I just couldn't make it. Like one of those short 60-second videos. It's hard to make it because as I'm talking, I just could not get my thoughts across like I usually can in those type of short videos. But I thought I'd just share exactly what I wanted to say here because this is a good place to vent out. What happened was in Joshua 11, as I was reading it, there was a lot of races like Anakim and all these groups. They were related to the Nephilim tribes, the Rephaims, the Nephilims, the Anakims, and from what I have studied about them from different various scholars, is that these were ancient races of giants that were not ordained by God. Like they were not a creation of God Himself. So they were more of a creation of the fallen angels, the deities of heaven, the not the ones that were the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, but just the Luciferian friends, the ones that went with Lucifer, the ones that fell with Lucifer. Genesis 6 talks about that they were once called sons of God. Sons of God is a term, Bene Elohim. I think it's in the Hebrew, Bene Elohim. And they're like related to the angels. And they were also mentioned in Job chapter 38 that these Bene Elohims, these sons of gods, were present when God was creating the foundation of the earth. In Job 38, it talks about it. So these fallen angels fell into sin and they saw the women, the daughters, and Bible says to the women to cover your hair so angels don't get tempted. Probably that's the reason why, because one time the angels got tempted, they saw the women, they intermingled with them. However, that was because I presume the angels knew the technologies of heaven. They knew how creation worked because they saw creation according to Job 38. So they knew what and how to maybe procreate through certain ways, which we as human beings cannot fathom or understand yet. Makes sense because there's a lot of ancient cultures which we cannot understand how they built certain things. Even in Mars, there's ancient architecture that NASA likes to cover up, but people that go through the photos have discovered there's a lot of anomalies on Mars, on Moon, that just they don't look natural. So there was an ancient civilization, no doubt. And even the Hindu scriptures, the Bhagavad Gita, the Mahabharata, these scriptures, they promote ancient culture, the Aryan culture. So with that being said, in the biblical narrative, I believe there was an ancient culture, and these ancient cultures had giants, had groups. And I believe maybe one time they were very sophisticated in nature, but as the depravity of men increased and as things began to go downhill, these sons of gods, their children became even more depraved, even more sinful, because these ancient races of giants were bloodthirsty. They were cannibals, and they were destroying the land. And I don't think God liked that. And one more thing you got to realize, when Joshua came into the Holy Land, Canaan, there was already a race of giants there. So what happened? So during the time of Moses, when Moses was in Egypt, and even prior to Joseph being in Egypt, there was this gap of 400 or 500 years where the land of Canaan the Holy Land was not with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob's people. It was unoccupied. But when they arrived at the Holy Land in the time of Joshua, even at the time of Moses, when they arrived at the Holy Land, they saw that there was giants there. So Satan had laid a trap, and he had made sure the Holy Land was already occupied. And since the Holy Land was occupied by giants, God wanted Joshua to destroy them. And these giants were not very friendly creatures. Like I mentioned, they were bloodthirsty cannibals. And when Joshua destroyed them, there was times when not everything was destroyed. Maybe some of them escaped, and they started their own families, these giants, in other lands. And David had to kind of finish the job killing the giants when he faced Goliath, and when he had his army men kill some of the brothers of Goliath. So even then, we don't know. Maybe there's still some giants escape, because the culture of giants is still existing even after the Old Testament into the New Testament, into the Mayan Incan culture in South America, into the culture of North America, the American Indians culture. There's giants found there, and there's giants also mentioned in the Army report of the U.S. Army back in 2003 when they invaded Afghanistan. There was reports of some pilots or some soldiers that came out saying they fought a red-haired giant on the mountain in Afghanistan. So all these stories, whether they're true or not, do promote some sort of ancient culture that might have remnants still alive today. And in that video that I wanted to make but couldn't really make right now, that's what I want to mention, that the reason God wanted to destroy these races is not because he's an evil God, but because these races are not ordained by him. They're not made by God. And these races would not be qualified as humans. As a matter of fact, if you read the book of, I believe it's Enoch, it mentions that when you destroy these races of giants, what happens is their spirit turns into evil spirits. So these giants were never human to begin with. When they die, they're basically the demons that you and I have to deal with in prayer. And that's why in our reality right now, we're not facing those physical giants, we're facing those spiritual giants, because their souls still exist. And that's why we have to meditate on the scripture daily, day and night, so that way we can pray for ourselves, we can fight against the wiles of the devil, the temptations of the devil. So that's what I wanted to mention, that God did not promote genocide to kill human beings. It was more to drive away maybe some of the people that were in pagan worship, and to destroy the races of these giants that occupied the land, especially the Holy Land. So God had occupied it first from the time of Abraham, and Melchizedek was there in Salem. God was already there. He sent his most high priest to occupy the Holy Land. So if you're a Christian, you should be happy that God has a plan for all of us. And he's not if people say, oh, he commits genocide, well, look at the people that were destroyed. They were not qualified as human beings. And the ones that God said to get rid of were those people that Joshua drove out of the land. They drove them out of the land, the Holy Land. Not necessarily killing all of them, because Rahab survived. She was part of the Canaan culture, and Rahab was allowed to live. So not necessarily everybody's going to get wiped out. Probably the ones that are going to get wiped out are the ones that are not maybe qualified as human, and those that perhaps are really deep into pagan worship, that their father is the devil. So I guess I can get my thought on this video. But I'll try to make the short video about why God doesn't, why genocide is not exactly how we think it is. When people say like, why does God commit genocide? God bless you.